Hello, 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 and welcome back to yet another college football video, man. How y'all doing today? Today we got the Big Ten predicting every single game in the entire conference. I'm going through every single conference. Did the SEC already. After this, we'll be doing the ACC, finishing off with the Big 12. It's a lot of goddamn games. Got 6 pages here on the trusty notebook here, and yeah, man, it's gonna be a 45 plus minute video. No need to drag y'all with a long intro. Let's get right into it. Thank you for watching. All right. Week one here, I'll give you a little bit of an introduction on every team here. Howard at Rutgers. Obviously, I have Rutgers taking the game at home against fucking Howard of all teams. I got Rutgers 28-6 here. Rutgers had a very impressive season last year. They were one of the surprise teams from last year. Nobody expected them to be as good as they were. They had really close games against like Ohio State, Penn State, guys like that. But a few months ago, I thought that they would be able to recreate that to a certain extent. But taking a closer look here at the schedule, they have a fairly easy schedule, but I don't love the roster. I feel like it was a flash in the pan. I'm not confident in Rutgers to be able to recreate the magic from last season, if you will. After that, really big, game here, week one. North Carolina at Minnesota, two Power Four teams here. Um, last year North Carolina took the win. I have them beating Minnesota again. I have North Carolina 27-21. Minnesota obviously starting off 0-1. You know, Minnesota is just one of those Big Ten teams that I really don't like that are just so mid, consistently mid. Five, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wins is it's just what they do. And Minnesota here, they had a really terrible quarterback last year, kind of just killed their entire offense. I like their running back a lot, Darius Taylor, but they're kind of just a traditional Big Ten team, play good defense, run the ball, but they lost their best defensive player, Tyler Nubin. I don't know anything about the new quarterback really. So, I'm very what's the word, cautious in predicting Minnesota to do anything of substance the next season. So I got them starting off 0-1 with a loss to North Carolina. Following that, we have Eastern Illinois at Illinois. I got Illinois winning 24-3 here. If you remember, 2 years ago, Illinois really was one of the better teams in the Big Ten. They had one of the best defenses in the entire country. It was absolutely incredible. Um, but sneakily, they've actually put a lot of players in the NFL the last 2 years. Like a lot of players from that Illinois team 2 years ago ended up going to the NFL the last two drafts. So they've lost most of what made them so good a few years ago. And what's left is not very good, in my opinion. They still got the quarterback, Luke Altmaier, I think. He threw like 5 picks in the game against Penn State. And, understandably, it's Penn State, right? But I do not love what he gives them at quarterback. The interesting thing about Illinois is they got Zachariah Franklin out of the transfer portal. If you remember that name, it's because 2 years ago at UTSA, he was an absolute animal. He had like 1,500 yards at UTSA. Now he transferred the following year to Ole Miss. Now I thought he was going to be an absolute beast in the SEC. However, it turns out Ole Miss just had so many talented receivers that Zachariah Franklin got buried on the depth chart. Unfortunately, he did not pan out at Ole Miss. Happily, though, he transferred to Illinois. Now he gets a second chance. Um, Thing is here, him and Dorian Singer are very similar. Dorian Singer, obviously, big year at Arizona, transferred to USC, didn't pan out, transfers to Utah now. I'll be keeping a close eye on both those guys to see if they're able to bounce back. But overall, though, Illinois, I just don't have a lot of confidence in them. I have them starting off 1-0, though, with the win over Illinois, or sorry, with the win over Eastern Illinois. Following that, Michigan State hosting FAU. I got them winning 28-13 here. Michigan State, a lot has happened with them recently. They had the head coach sexting somebody out. I don't know what the hell was going on there. New head coach, obviously, Jonathan Smith coming in from Oregon State. He brings a 5-star quarterback with him, I think. Um, I haven't seen much. I've definitely not seen anything that impressed me at Oregon State from that quarterback. Jonathan Smith, he's a pretty good coach, I feel like. But Michigan State overall, they've been so bad the last 2 years, man. The roster is not where it needs to be to compete right now. But this is the thing. A few months ago, if you would have asked me, I would have said, oh, Michigan State, worst team in the Big Ten, probably. However, going through their schedule now, it's a pretty easy schedule. And I actually have them doing much better than I would have thought a few months ago. With that being said, I'm not thinking Michigan State's going to be doing anything big time now in the Big Ten, but keep an eye on them as we proceed. I have them starting off 1-0 with the win over FAU. After that, we have Wisconsin hosting Western Michigan. I have them winning 27-9. Wisconsin, they're one of those teams where you think, right, that they're a tier above all the mid teams in the Big Ten. However, last year was a big disappointment. It was the new head coach coming in from Cincinnati, Luke Fickell, I believe. He was supposed to revolutionize the Wisconsin offense. They had the transfer quarterback from SMU, Tanner Mordecai, and it just didn't work out, man. For some reason, the quarterback was not good. I didn't like their receiver core last year. The running game was the only thing that had any merit to it, and they lost their best player on their entire team, Braylon Allen, to the NFL. Now they bring in Tyler Van Dyke from Miami, right? But in theory, it should help their passing game, but it's just the same thing as last year. If Tanner Mordecai didn't work out, I'm not confident that Van Dyke will work out either. So we'll see what happens, man. I do think Wisconsin is a level above these other teams like the Minnesotas and the Rutgers and stuff like that, but I just don't have that much confidence in them at this point in time. After that, though, we have Iowa against Illinois State. Obviously, I have Iowa winning. I got them 17-0. Listen, let me go on a little rant about Iowa here. How the fuck are they ranked? How is Iowa ranked right now? It's just one of those things where, like, all the people that make the AP and the coaches poll, they're like, at the very last spot, we can't make the poll without throwing Iowa in there. Why? What has Iowa done to warrant being a top 25 team? They didn't score a point their last two games of the season against ranked teams when ranked teams should be performing well. Iowa put up 0 twice against Michigan and Tennessee. It's like, it just blows my mind that people still think, if Iowa just gets an offense, they haven't had an offense in years. I've never seen an impressive Iowa before. I've been a college football fan for like 3-4 years. I've never seen an impressive Iowa offense. Just a game. I'm not even talking about like a season or anything. So, and when McNamara transferred in, it was like, oh, well, they finally have a quarterback now. He got hurt, obviously, but even when he was playing, they didn't look impressive. They still sucked. So, yeah, man, I got Iowa just I used to be a pity fan of Iowa because they were so bad. I just wanted to see them win or just score, actually. But now I'm an extreme hater of Iowa because they don't even use the transfer portal. They're like Clemson. They're a mid team in their conference. They choose not to use the transfer portal. They are against the philosophy of offense. It baffles me to no end. I hate Iowa now. I had them starting off 1-0 though. I missed this game right here. We have Penn State traveling on the road to Western Virginia. That is a very interesting game right there. They played last year. Penn State won convincingly. I think the same will take place this year. I have them winning 27-15 here. But that's a really good test. Penn State and Minnesota with some tough out of conference games week 1. But yeah, Penn State, their defense lost a lot of talent really on defense, but I do think more of the same. I think they'll have a top 10 defense. Abdul Carter, one of the better players in the country. And their offense, listen, they shit the bed against Michigan and Ohio State every year, but I do think their offense will be good enough to beat everybody else, essentially, besides the top tier teams, right? That's what Penn State has done in recent history. So I have them beating West Virginia 27-15, though. After that, and the Iowa game, we have UConn traveling to Maryland. Maryland has to win this game. I got them winning 31-10. They lost their quarterback. They lost to his little brother. It's weird because every time I watched him in a big game, he was terrible. He was bad against Ohio State. He was bad against Michigan. Now listen, those are some great defenses, but it's a Drew Aller situation. What good are you to me if you can't win the big games? So, but here's the thing, right? You lose that guy who I thought was useless in big games, but apparently he was good enough to get Maryland to this level. But now they have a question mark. Who knows how good the new guy will be? But I think Maryland could still be solid, but it's to be determined. A lot of change taking place here because the Big Ten quarterback, just overall Big Ten quarterbacks pretty much suck, right? Except for the transfers that come in, Dillon Gabriel and stuff like that. Regular Big Ten quarterbacks are just so shitty. So Maryland is a subject of that, not having a good quarterback right now. And we will see if they can put one together. Because if they can, I think they'll be a pretty good team. But I am not confident in that whatsoever. I have them starting off 1-0. After that, we have Purdue. Yeah, Purdue hosting Indiana State. I'll be honest with you. I don't know why, but I just have Purdue as one of the worst teams in the Big Ten. I don't see it. They lost their best receiver to Oklahoma this offseason. Hudson Card is the quarterback. I mean, do with that what you will. I think Purdue is going to really, really struggle this season. I have them beating Indiana State. I got them winning 24-6 here. But man, pay attention because it's about to get very, very bad for Purdue in these predictions. After that, Indiana hosts FIU. I got them winning that game 21-13. A lot of change with Indiana, new head coach coming over from James Madison. They had a great year last year, obviously. He brings his star receiver with him. Elijah Surratt, I believe, is his name. So yeah, obviously year one, I don't think they're gonna do much, but change is taking place at Indiana as we speak. Next up, we got Nebraska hosting UTEP. I got them winning 27-9 here. Nebraska, I'm a believer. I'm buying stock in Nebraska. I think Matt Rule is the guy to turn this program around. He already showed it year one. I mean, his year one and his year ones are usually terrible. His year one was better than most seasons we've seen at Nebraska in recent history. And they had like the worst quarterback in the country. Their quarterback turned it over like 40 times in like 10 games, whatever. So it was terrible there. They got the new 5-star quarterback coming in, which is just absolutely massive for them. He's going to start as a true freshman. We'll see how good he is. And even if he's not great, I think Nebraska is going to do pretty well next year. So keep an eye on them. I think they're going to be a good team in the Big Ten this year. After that, Northwestern hosting the MAC champions, Miami of Ohio, but they lost some players though. So I got Northwestern taking this one, 20-13. It'll be a pretty close game. I mean, MAC champions, that's a pretty good game to play week one. Northwestern, one of the most shocking stories in all of college football. Obviously, they had the hazing scandal last year. Late into the cycle, they had to fire their head coach for disciplinary reasons, and they had a new head coach out the blue. I forget his name, but their season was pretty much dead on arrival in the eyes of most people. And they managed to pull out like a 7 or 8 win season. They beat Utah in a bowl game. So Northwestern, clap it up. They had a masterful season when you consider the circumstances last year. But I think it was just that. I think it was magical. I think it was a once in a lifetime type thing. I don't see Northwestern actually building, their program back up after that season. And I think they're going to be pretty disappointing this year following that magical year, obviously. After that, we have Michigan. Sorry, I keep skipping some games for some reason. We have Ohio State hosting Akron. Obviously, Ohio State. They're my number one team to start the season. I think they're going to be amazing. So hosting Akron week one, I'm gonna call it 40. I'm gonna call it 48-3 here that they beat Akron week one. Obviously, Ohio State is the premier program. I don't have to say much about them. Everybody already knows how good they are. After that, Michigan hosting Fresno State. Um, Michigan, I don't feel so good about them to start the year. I think they are massively overrated right now by the college football public. But listen, they can still get the job done against teams like Fresno State. I have them winning 28-7. And that might even be a little bit, a little bit generous there. Let me write that down. I actually didn't have that written down here. All right. After that, we have Oregon hosting Idaho. Hosting Idaho. If you know how I feel about Oregon, I think they're the best team. Well, one of the best teams in the Big Ten, one of the best teams in the whole country, and I think they're going to have an absolutely incredible season. I think they're going to start it off with a 45-3 win over Idaho. After that, UCLA, new Big Ten team, travels to Hawaii week one. That's an interesting game, but yeah, UCLA I think is going to be pretty bad this year. Obviously, Chip Kelly just ditched them, left them high and dry late in the cycle. They went and I think his name's like Deshaun Foster. He's like a former running back for them, but yeah, I think it's going to be very rough for UCLA next season, and you will see just how rough I think it'll be for them. I have them beating Hawaii though, 24-10 to start off 1-0. Second to last game, Washington hosts Weber State. I am high on Washington. Most people are not. Most people don't even have them ranked. I have them at 21. I like the Will Rogers transfer. I like the head coach hire, Jedd Fisch. I think they made some moves that people are kind of sleeping on here. I think they should have at least a good offense next year. So I have them winning 37-13 in their opener. And then USC at LSU. Well, it's a neutral site game, but there is no way in hell USC is a top 25 team. They're not even a top 30 team, in my opinion. I could go on a rant just about. I will go on a rant just about them actually. You know, USC. What were they last year? Were they 6-6 or 7-6? I think were they or 7-5 maybe. I don't know. They were bad last year and they had the best quarterback in the country. So keep in mind what I just said. They were bad and had the world's best quarterback in college football. You're telling me that they're going to get better than they were last year when they take a massive downgrade at quarterback and they lost one of their best defensive players in Kalen Bullock. and they lost two of their starting receivers, and they lost their starting running back. All that is what has to be true for USC to be better or to be ranked at all, really. That it does not compute for me. You know, wrong answer. It's just not. It's not true. It's false. So I think USC is going to be terrible this year. Again, same as they were last year. And I think LSU is going to beat them 31-20 to start the year. And I think USC starts the year off 0-1. I do not think these transfer California teams are going to do very well in the Big Ten year one. Following that, though, week 2. Let's move on here. This is the thing I hate the most is having a switch here and you got to restart everything because it doesn't just stay as the Big Ten, which is so stupid. Switch over to the Big Ten. All right. Game 1, we have Indiana hosting Western Illinois. Another warm-up game. I have Indiana winning this game 20-9. They start their season off 2-0. After this, Duke, interesting game here. Duke travels on the road to Northwestern. I got Duke winning this game. If you wait for my ACC predictions, I actually think Duke is going to be pretty good next year. They obviously have Manny Diaz, defensive coordinator from Penn State. So I think Duke's defense is going to be even better than they were last year. So I have them beating Northwestern 24-13. Northwestern starts off 1-1. After that, one of the biggest games in the entire country. Texas travels to Michigan. I think Texas gets the job done. I know Texas just lost a starting running back, which is, I mean, don't get me wrong, it'll hurt them, but I don't think they were going to be much of a running team anyway next year. I think they were going to lean more on the pass game and Quinn Ewers. This just kind of solidifies that. I think Michigan will keep it close. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it'll be a blowout or anything like that. But I think 24-10 Texas. First half, I think pretty close, but Texas pulls away late. I think Michigan starts off 1-1. After that, Minnesota hosts Rhode Island. I got them getting the job done here, 27-9. They start off 1-1 after losing to North Carolina in week 1. After that, Penn State hosts Bowling Green. Bowling Green is just getting passed around by every top team that wants it. But by the way, Bowling Green led the league in takeaways last year, so watch out, Drew Aller. Penn State beats them though 37-6. I have Penn State starting off 2-0. Rutgers hosts Akron. I have them beating Akron 21-10. They start off 2-0 impressively, I'll say. After that, Iowa State at Iowa. Obviously, the in-state Iowa rivalry. I'll be honest with you. I think Iowa State's a better team than Iowa. I think Iowa State gets the job done here. They have their quarterback actually could be pretty good next year. I got them getting the job done 10-9 because Iowa's so fucking terrible. So I got Iowa starting off 1-1 with a loss to Iowa State here. After that, Maryland hosts Michigan State here. Is this the first in-conference game? It might be. But two solid teams here. But I got Maryland getting the job done just because they're at home here. And I trust them more. I think they're further along than Michigan State is. I have them beating Michigan State 27-20. They start off 2-0. Michigan State starts off 1-1. After that, Washington hosts Eastern Michigan. I have them beating Eastern Michigan 30-7. They start off 2-0. Ohio State hosts fucking South Dakota of all teams. So yeah, I think. Wait a minute. Is this right? South Dakota. I must have just written that down wrong. Oh, wait. Wisconsin hosts South Dakota. 1 second. 1 second. I got this wrong, didn't I? Okay, wait a minute. Okay, so Ohio State hosts Western Michigan. I have them winning that game 38-3. Oregon hosts Boise State. I have them winning that game 35-13. So Ohio State and Oregon both start off 2-0. USC hosts Utah State. I have them winning that game 34-13. They start off 1-1. Nebraska, Colorado, very big game actually. I'm looking forward to watching that game. I do have Colorado getting that done. I think they are just, you know, I think Nebraska could not slow their offense down last year. I think that'll be the same thing next year. So I think Colorado gets the job done 34-27. I got to keep writing mistakes down here. I think 34-27. Colorado gets the job done. Nebraska starts off 1-1. Illinois hosting Kansas. I think Kansas beat them 2 years in a row, if I'm not mistaken. So I think they'll beat them for the third year in a row. I think they beat Illinois in 30-13. I think Illinois starts off 1-1 here. Let me make sure here. I'm missing something here. think I'm just missing the Wisconsin game here. So okay, so we got Wisconsin hosting South Dakota. Obviously, I have Wisconsin getting the job done. Let me write it down here. I have them beating South Dakota. This is a bad preparation by me. I have them beating South Dakota to go 2-0 by a score. We'll call it. I don't think South Dakota's offense. You forgive me. I don't have much faith in South Dakota's offense here. I have them beating South Dakota 3-37. All right, so Wisconsin starts off 2-0 there. And I got to rewrite Ohio State, South Dakota. Anyways, moving on. Week 3 now. A lack of preparation. Oh, wait. 1 second. Let me make sure. Big Ten schedule. Let's take a break here. Read the stories at the bottom. Trash stories. All right, moving on. Week 3 here. Wisconsin hosts Alabama. Big game here. Massive out of conference game. People say that the SEC doesn't travel to the Big Ten to play the big teams. This is actually a pretty big game here, but I do have Alabama getting the job done on the road. I have them beating Wisconsin 28-17. Wisconsin starts off 2-1. Then we have Central Michigan at Illinois. I have Illinois beating Central Michigan 21-10. They improve to 2-1. Michigan hosts Arkansas State. I have them getting the job done there. I have them winning 27-3. They improve to 2-1. We have Michigan State hosting Prairie View A&M. I think they will beat them 34-6. They improve to 2-1. Minnesota hosts Nevada. Minnesota, I have winning 27-6. They improve to 2-1. Next up, we have Oregon going on the road to Oregon State. Obviously, you have the in-state rivalry there, except Oregon State has been completely gutted by, just their coach leaving and everything. I have Oregon beating them 31-10, improving to 3-0. After that, we have Washington hosting Washington State. Again, another in-state rivalry there in week 3. What's left of the Pac-2? I have Washington winning 37-9, and they improve to 3-0. Notre Dame travels to Purdue. Newsflash, I don't think Purdue's beating them. So I have Notre Dame winning 31-10. They improve to 3-0, in my opinion. Purdue drops to 1-1. Iowa hosts Troy. Interesting game here. Troy's been pretty good the last few years, but they lost most of their big time players. I have Iowa winning 13-6. They improve to 2-1. Indiana at UCLA. Interesting one here. I don't think either of these teams are very good, but I'm actually thinking about this now. I think I wrote this down incorrectly. I think UCLA wins. I think UCLA wins at home. I have them winning 20-18 over Indiana, and they get their first Big Ten win ever. After that, Nebraska hosts Northern Iowa. I have them winning 27-7. They improve to 2-1. They bounce back after their loss versus Colorado. Then you have Illinois at Northwestern. Sorry, Eastern Illinois at Northwestern. I have Northwestern beating them 21-10. They improve to 2-1. And then Maryland goes on the road to Virginia in the ACC. I think Maryland wins that one. DMV matchup there. I have them winning 24-14. Maryland improves to 3-0. Interesting start there from Maryland. After this now, week 4. We have Illinois going on the road to Nebraska here. So let me switch to Big Ten. Illinois on the road at Nebraska. I have Nebraska winning this one 24-10. Illinois drops to 2-2. Nebraska improves to 3-1. Then we have UCLA going to LSU. Don't know why all these California teams are playing LSU in the first month of the season, but it happens. UCLA win, or sorry, they do not win. LSU wins 27-13, in my opinion. UCLA drops to 1-2. Then you have Indiana hosting Charlotte. I got them winning 21-6. They actually improved to 3-1 here. They could start off 4-0 actually if they beat UCLA. Iowa at Minnesota here. Pretty close game here. I think Iowa gets the job done 10-7. They improve to 3-1. Minnesota drops to 2-2. They drop 2. Then you have Maryland hosting Villanova here. I have them winning 30-6, and Maryland actually improves to 4-0. Then you have Michigan State traveling to Boston College. Boston College, just a mid-team in the ACC, if you will. I have Michigan State winning 24-20. They improve to 3-1. You have Washington hosting Northwestern, their first Big Ten game, if I'm not mistaken. I got them winning 27-17. Washington improves to 4-0. You have Ohio State hosting Marshall. Marshall beat Notre Dame a few years ago. I do not think they will beat Ohio State. I got Ohio State winning 31-3. They improved to 3-0. You have Penn State hosting Kent State. Newsflash: I got Penn State winning 27-6. They improved to 3-0. Rutgers at Virginia Tech. I actually have Virginia Tech getting the job done at home. They beat Rutgers 21-17, in my opinion. Rutgers drops their first game. They are 2-1. USC at Michigan. I got Michigan winning 24-10 here. They improved to 3-1. USC drops to 1-2. And honestly, for all the people ranking USC, I don't even see the point because there is no way that they don't start the season 1-2. So like as soon as they're gonna lose week 1, fall out the rankings, lose week 3, not be able to bounce back into the rankings. Like there's no point in even ranking USC because it's a guarantee after week 3 that they're gonna be unranked. So I don't even get the point. Then you have Purdue playing Oregon State. I have Purdue winning 17-14 on the road. Purdue improves to 2-1. Week 5 now. Switch over to the Big Ten here. Washington at Rutgers. I have Washington beating Rutgers 24-17. Washington improves to 5-0 now, and Rutgers drops to 2-2. Illinois at Penn State. Illinois obviously got smacked by them last year. I expect more of the same. I have Penn State winning 34-10. They improve to 4-0. Illinois drops to 2-3. What the fuck? Did you just watch a scam take place? What the hell just happened? Anyways, what the fuck was that? Anyway, let's get back to the regularly scheduled program here. I don't even think I have Xfinity. All right, moving on. Back to week 5 in the Big Ten. Where was I? I think I'm at Maryland traveling to Indiana. I got Maryland getting the job done there. I have Maryland improving to 5-0, by the way. Very impressive start for Maryland. And I have them beating Indiana 21-14. After that, Michigan hosts Minnesota. They beat them last year. I have them beating them again 20-9. Michigan improves to 4-1. Minnesota drops to 2-3. Then we have Ohio State at Michigan State. I have Ohio State winning 37-13. They improve to 4-0 while Michigan State drops to 3-2. Then you have Oregon traveling to UCLA. I have Oregon winning 28-10. They improve to 4-0. UCLA drops to 1-3. After that, Wisconsin at USC, man. I don't see a world where USC beats Wisconsin. I just think Wisconsin is so much more physical than USC. I think they're going to kill them on both lines of scrimmage. I have Wisconsin winning 24-10. They improve to 3-1, and USC drops to 1-3. I think it's going to be a really, really bad season for USC. Year 1 in the Big Ten. Then you have Nebraska at Purdue here. I got Nebraska winning 27-13. I think they improved to 4-1. Meanwhile, you got Purdue sitting at 2-2. So Nebraska, Maryland doing very, very well for themselves, and teams like USC, UCLA struggling hard in the new Big Ten. Washington also getting off to a really good start there. Week 6, let's see. About halfway through here, a little under halfway. About a third, actually. All right. Michigan State at Oregon. I have Oregon winning 38-14. They improve to 5-0. Michigan State drops to 3-3. Northwestern hosts Indiana here. I have Northwestern getting the job done at home. Both teams ranked around the same place, in my opinion. But I have Northwestern winning and improved to 3-2. Indiana drops to 3-3. Ohio State hosts Iowa. I don't think that Iowa will really pose any threat here. I have Ohio State winning 24-3. They improve 5-0. Iowa drops to 3-2. I think they could go scoreless here, actually. Washington hosting Michigan, the national championship game rematch here. I think Michigan gets the job done. I think it'll be a fairly close game in the first half, but similar to the Texas Michigan game. I think Michigan shuts Washington down. Second half, they go on to win 27-13. Both teams now 5-1. USC at Minnesota. This is a close one, to be honest with you, but I think USC gets their first Big Ten win. I got them winning 28-20. They improve to 2-3. Minnesota drops to 2-4. Rutgers at Nebraska here. I think Nebraska certainly could be ranked at this point. I have them beating Rutgers 24-17 since they're all right. Sorry, the mic just went out for a second. Uh, I have I have Nebraska beating Rutgers. They improved to 5-1. I have them winning 24-17. Rutgers drops to 2-3. Then I have Wisconsin hosting Purdue. I think Wisconsin certainly gets the job done at home. I got them winning 20-10. They improved to 4-1. Purdue drops to 2-3. Then Penn State hosts UCLA. This is an easy one here. Penn State wins 27-6. They improve to 5-0. UCLA at 1-4 after their fifth game. So not a good start at all for UCLA. But the favorites in the Big Ten, Penn State, Ohio State, Oregon, I think they all do very well. Michigan, Washington, Nebraska, guys like that doing fairly well, and California teams still struggling. Week 7 now. First off, we have Maryland hosting Northwestern here. I actually have Maryland winning this game. I just don't think Northwestern could get it done on the road here. I got Maryland 27-17, and they actually start off 6-0. 6-0 in this prediction here. Then I have Illinois hosting Purdue. I got Illinois 13-10. I got them at 3-3 now. Purdue at 2-4. Iowa hosts Washington. I just don't think. If Iowa beats Washington, I'll be so fucking pissed. But I have Washington winning 17-10. They improve to 6-1. Iowa drops to 3-3. UCLA hosts Minnesota. I think Minnesota is just a much better team, to be honest with you. I think they win 24-13. They improve to 3-4. UCLA now at 1-5. Ohio State travels on the road to Oregon. One of the best games in the entire country next year, simply because Oregon is at home. I'm going to give them the 3-point swing there. I got them winning 27-24 here. Such an important game. Such an important game. The winner probably will be ranked number 1 or close to it. Next up, we have Penn State at USC here. I think Penn State's going to demolish them. I got them winning 38-20. They improve to undefeated 6-0. USC drops to 2-4. After that, Wisconsin goes on the road to Rutgers. I got Wisconsin winning. I got them winning 21-20. I think it'll be a close game. They improve to 5-1. Rutgers now at 2-4, and just a disastrous start to their season. Week 8 now, past the halfway point, if you will. All right, next up, Oregon travels on the road to Purdue. Don't see a world where they lose. I got them winning 38-9. They improve to 7-0. Purdue 2-5. Michigan travels to Illinois on the road. I got them winning 20-6. They're 6-1 now. Illinois 3-4. Indiana hosts Nebraska. I got Nebraska winning that one 24-10. Indiana drops to 3-4. Nebraska now 6-1. I have Iowa at Michigan State here. I got Iowa actually beating Michigan State here on the road 14-10. Iowa improves to 4-3. Michigan State drops to 3-4. I think their quarterback will turn it over a lot of times in that game. Then we have USC at Maryland. Maryland's 6-0 at this point, but I don't think they're as physical as some of the other teams in the Big Ten. I think USC could take advantage of that. So I have USC winning 28-27. They improve to 3-4. Maryland undefeated season comes to an end. They drop to 6-1. After that, Wisconsin at Northwestern. I just think Wisconsin's better, man. I just think they're significantly better than Northwestern. I have them winning 21-17. I got them at 6-1, Northwestern 3-4. Then Rutgers hosts UCLA. I think Rutgers is just better. I think they win 20-13. UCLA now 1-6. Rutgers 3-4. Week 9 coming up. All right, starting off, USC hosting Rutgers. I actually think this is where USC kind of starts to turn their season around. Not really though, but I have them winning 28-21. They're 4-4 now. Rutgers is 3-5. Oregon hosts Illinois. Should be an easy win for them. I got them winning 31-6. They're 8-0. Illinois 3-5. Washington goes on the road to Indiana. I have them winning that one 27-13. They improved to 7-1. Indiana now 3-5. Minnesota hosts Maryland. Both teams around the same spot. It just so happens that Maryland's 6-1 at this point, Minnesota 3-4. But I got Minnesota taking this one at home. I think they're better suited for probably going to be a pretty cold game here, late October. I got them winning 21-20. They improved to 4-4. Maryland now drops their second in a row at 6-2. Michigan hosts Michigan State, obviously big rivalry game. I think Michigan gets it done 20-10. They improve to 7-1. Michigan State now 3-5. After starting off like 3-0, I think. Ohio State now hosting Nebraska. Pretty good game. I think Nebraska will keep it close, but I think Ohio State wins 24-13. They improve to 6-1. Nebraska drops to 6-2. Penn State goes on the road at Wisconsin. This could be a very good game. I have Wisconsin losing 27-17. Penn State now wins, improves to 7-0. Wisconsin drops to 6-2. And then Iowa hosts Northwestern. I got them winning 14-6. They improve to 5-3. Northwestern drops to 3-5. Week 10 now. Big Ten pretty much shaping up at this point. We know who the playoff pushers are. We know which teams are just completely falling apart by this point. A couple teams still hanging on, though. Not the Big 12. I want the Big 10. All right. Massive game here as let me make sure here. It's week 10. Massive game here as Penn State hosts Ohio State. Do I think it'll be closer than last year? Since it's at Penn State, I'll say yes, but I still think Ohio State gets the job done. I have them winning 24-17. Both teams now 7-1. Massive for the Big Ten championship picture there. Minnesota at Illinois. I have Illinois getting the job done at home there, 21-20. Both teams at 4-5. Michigan State hosts Indiana. I think they get the win at home. They are now 4-5. Indiana 3-6. I have Michigan State winning 20-17, by the way, and I have Illinois beating Minnesota 21-20. Iowa hosts Wisconsin. I think they won this game last year. I just think Wisconsin's so much better, man. Just so much better. Not on defense, maybe, but their offense is just man. It's just straight offense versus defense here. I got Wisconsin winning 17-10 here. They improve to 7-2. Iowa drops to 5-4. Oregon at Michigan. Another multiple, just massive games here. But Oregon's just so much better. I have them winning 24-14. They improve to 9-0. Michigan drops to 7-2. Nebraska hosts UCLA. This should be an easy one. I got them winning 24-10. They improve to 7-2. UCLA drops to 1-7. Then we have Northwestern going on the road to Purdue. I got them beating Purdue. I got them winning 17-13. They improve to 4-5. Purdue drops to 2-6. Then you got Washington hosting USC. This could be a really fun game. They got the job done narrowly last year in the Coliseum. I have them winning again at home here. I got them winning 34-27. They improved to 8-1, actually. A very, very great start for Washington. And USC I have dropping to 4-5. Now we got week 11 here. So you got some teams now. You got Washington, Penn State, Ohio State, all pushing for the Big Ten championship. Michigan also only has one conference loss at this point. Maryland still hanging in there. Wisconsin, Nebraska doing very well. And then Oregon as just the odds-on favorite, I would assume here, undefeated. Week 11 in the Big Ten. Okay. Scroll down here. UCLA hosts Iowa. Iowa gets the job done 17-6. They improve to 6-4. UCLA drops to 1-8. Just a disaster season for them. Indiana hosts Michigan. I think Michigan bounces back against them 27-9. They improve to 8-2. Indiana drops to 3-7. Oregon hosts Maryland. I think Maryland loses their third in a row after starting off 6-0. I think Oregon wins 38-14. They improve to 10-0. Maryland now 6-3. Rutgers hosts Minnesota. I got Rutgers winning 20-17. I think they're 4-5 now. Minnesota 4-6. Ohio State hosts Purdue. Yeah, Ohio State's winning 34-6. They improved to 8-1. I got Purdue at 2-7 now. Then you have Penn State hosting Washington. Very, very big game, man. The winner of this, could be making that push to the Big Ten champion and really the playoffs too. I mean, the winner of this game probably going to be ranked in the top 10 or 12 if this were to play out as, I predict. But I have Penn State at home. That's the difference maker for me. I got Penn State winning 21-17 here. They improve to 8-1. Washington drops to 8-2. A lot of big games here in the middle or later this season in the Big Ten. Next up, though, Week 12, coming down the home stretch here, only 3 weeks left. All right. Washington hosting UCLA. I certainly think they bounce back after their loss to Penn State. I got them winning 27-10. They improved to 9-2. UCLA drops to 1-9. Their horrible season continues. Illinois hosts Michigan State. I have Michigan State winning on the road 21-17. They improve to 5-5. Illinois drops to 4-6. Maryland hosts Rutgers. They finally snap the losing streak. They win 21-13. They improve to 7-3. Rutgers drops to 4-6. Nebraska on the road at USC. Very big game here. A very good game, I think it could be. I got Nebraska winning 28-20. They improved to 8-2. USC drops to 4-6, by the way. 4-6 for a team that starts off ranked. That's why they shouldn't start off ranked, I think. Ohio State at Northwestern. I think they improved to 9-1 here with the win. I think they win 34-13. I think Northwestern drops to 4-6. Then you got Oregon on the road at Wisconsin. Big time game here. I got Oregon winning though, improving to 11-0. I think they beat Wisconsin 30-20. Wisconsin drops to 7-3. Then you got Purdue hosting Penn State. Penn State wins 24-6 here. They improve to 9-1. Purdue drops to 2-8. 2 weeks left now in the Big Ten. I hope this video is not pushing an hour. I would like to make it significantly shorter than the fucking SEC one that was like an hour long. Week 13 though, coming up. All right, week 13. I have Michigan State hosting Purdue here to start it off. I got Michigan State winning at home 28-24. They improve to 6-5 now. Purdue drops to 2-9. Rutgers hosts Illinois. I think they win that one 24-20. They're 5-6. Illinois sitting at 4-7. Ohio State hosting Indiana. They got to win that one 34-6 in my opinion. They're 10-1 now. Indiana sits at 3-8. Maryland hosting Iowa. Big game, low score. I have Iowa winning 10-7. Maryland now drops to 7-4 after their magical start. Iowa also at 7-4. Michigan hosts Northwestern. I got them winning 27-10. They improve to 9-2. Northwestern sitting at 4-7. Then you have Minnesota hosting Penn State here. Make sure you can see all these games. Minnesota hosting Penn State. I think Penn State wins on the road 27-13. Minnesota 4-7. Penn State improves to 10-1. Wisconsin at Nebraska. Really big game here, man. Winner of this game could be, really propelling themselves to a 10-win season. I think Wisconsin gets it done on the road. I just don't think Nebraska's good enough just quite yet. I think Wisconsin wins 27-20. Both teams now 8-3. USC at UCLA, one of USC's easiest wins, I think, next year. I think they win 34-17. UCLA 1-10. Then you got week 14, rivalry week, final week of the season here. And let's see what pans out. Let's see how things go. Week 14 in the Big Ten. All right. Minnesota at Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin wins at home. They finished their season 9-3. Minnesota falls to 4-8. Bad year for them. I think Wisconsin wins 27-17. Iowa hosting Nebraska. I think Nebraska coming off their loss to Wisconsin. I don't think they end the season on a loss. I think they beat Iowa on the road for a big time win, 14-10, and they get 9 wins for the first time in a long time. And then Iowa drops to 7-5. I think their head coach will retire after this year. Northwestern hosts Illinois. I got them winning at home to close it out. I got them winning 17-14. They improved to 5-7. Illinois at 4-8. This could be the last year for their head coach. Indiana hosts Purdue. I got Indiana winning 24-20. 4-8 for Indiana their first year. I guess it's acceptable. And then Purdue at 2-10. I mean, I don't know how new their coach is, but 2-10 that he probably has to hit the high road, or the highway, I should say. Then you have Penn State hosting Maryland. I think they get the job done at home, 27-13. They improve to 11-1 and possibly make the college football playoff. Meanwhile, Maryland at 7-5. I mean, it's kind of just a Maryland season, It's kind of what you expect from them. Michigan State, though, hosting Rutgers. I think Michigan State wins 21-17. Rutgers drops to 5-7, so they're not able to recreate their magic from last year. Michigan State, though, 7-5, year one. I think they take that. I think they absolutely take that, and they're happy with that. For the new quarterback, new head coach, much better than they were the last 2 years. That might be as many wins as they had combined the last 2 years, actually. So I think they're very happy if they go 7-5 next year. Oregon hosting Washington, obviously a big rivalry game. Washington has beat Oregon the last 3 times in a row. Dan Lanning has never beat Washington, but I think this is the year that he gets it done. 37-24. I have Oregon beating Washington. They improve to undefeated 12-0. Washington drops to 9-3, which, by the way, they should be very happy. If Washington finishes the year 9-3 after all the shit that they went through this offseason, all the change, all the players leaving, I think they would be ecstatic to finish 9-3. And then obviously Oregon 12-0 might go into the college football playoff as the number one team. UCLA hosting Fresno State. I think they lose to. Come on, man. I think they lose to Fresno State. To be honest with you, now, they could win this game. I understand, but man, I got them losing at home final week. I got them dropping a 1-11. 1-11. I got them losing 21-17. Man, UCLA. Why the hell are they in the Big Ten? They should have stayed in the Pac-12, made the Pac-3. Honestly, Notre Dame at USC. I think they stomp USC actually. They beat them handedly last year. I expect more of the same. I got Notre Dame 35-20, and I got USC falling to 5-7. You know, at this point now, we're talking about a 500 record for Lincoln Riley the last 2 years, and you know, I think the public opinion on him would shift drastically if this were to happen. And I think it will happen. I think the cap for them is 7-5. So, yeah, I don't think USC is going to do too hot in the Big Ten. Then, of course, you have the game, right? You have Ohio State hosting Michigan. Obviously, Michigan's won the last 3 years, but no Jim Harbaugh, no more great team. I mean, they're just not as good no more. So I have Ohio State winning, finally snapping the streak. I have them winning 24-17 at home. They improve to 11-1. Michigan drops to 9-3. Now, let's talk about what this means for the Big Ten championship. I think obviously Oregon's in there as undefeated. You have Ohio State and Penn State both at 11-1. However, you have Ohio State winning the head-to-head matchup. I would assume that gives them the nod over Penn State. So I have Ohio State and Oregon in the Big 12 championship game. Now, it just comes down to this, right? I don't think either of these teams are beating the other twice. That's just how I feel. Oregon wins the first one because they're at home, in my opinion. In the Big Ten championship game, I think Ohio State wins the rematch. I got Ohio State 31-30 in that game, and I just, I can't see a world where one of these teams beats the other twice. So I have Ohio State winning the rematch, and I have them entering the playoff as just one spot higher than Oregon. So with that being said, let's take a look now at what I think what the Big Ten could look like. So here's the thing. This is what I thought about 3 months ago. This is what I would have thought if you told me about the Big Ten. This is what I thought. I made a video about the Big Ten a few months ago, like in March, I think, like 5 months ago or whatever. And this is how it looked. This was my prediction for the Big Ten. And this is how it actually ended up looking. So I had Oregon as a 2-loss team. I don't know how I had Oregon as a 2-loss team. I was dead wrong about that. Michigan, I was right about. Washington, I was right about. Iowa, I was overrating. I think Rutgers, you can see a few months ago, I was really high on Rutgers. My thoughts changed on them. Wisconsin, I think, is going to do better than I thought originally. Same for Nebraska. Maryland, I was right. Well, I'm not going to say I was right. It's just my thoughts have not changed. I don't know how. I don't know how I thought UCLA, because I think Chip Kelly was still there at that time. So yeah, I thought UCLA was 6-6. Now I got them. Now I got them going 11-1. And yeah, man. So I think Oregon, Ohio State, and Penn State probably make the college football playoff. I think Penn State could be teetering on the edge there. And I think Michigan, Wisconsin, Nebraska, Washington, I don't think any of them are making the playoffs, but I think all of them obviously have the opportunity to go to win a 10 game season, So that would be massive for them to get 10 wins, all those teams. And everybody else is just mid Big Ten team. And this is why I hate the Big Ten. Iowa, Maryland, Michigan, USC, Rutgers, Northwestern, Illinois, Minnesota, Purdue, Indiana, UCLA. 11 teams that are just nobody cares, bro. Nobody cares about these 11. Well, I guess people care about USC and shit like that, but it's like 11 teams that are just irrelevant in terms of just being good ranked teams. Like there's only 7. There's only 7 Big Ten teams that I care about in terms of that I think could be really, really good. So yeah, I think, yeah. Big Ten, a pretty boring conference, honestly. I think the ACC and Big 12 will be a little more entertaining when we get into those videos. But yeah, man, thank you for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you are new, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.